Okay, so we left off with G, which means we have H. We already did I. And come on now. We already did I. That was like one of the first ones. And let's do full screen so we can see it all. And so H, J, K, and L should not be too terribly difficult. Let's look at part H. And we can do a new create drawing, basic template. And so we're down here. Let's rename it from drawing 1 to drawing H. Can't remember. I guess I like this at the top more. And we'll go to H and bring out that part. Okay, front view, which is we made all of the green sheet parts from the front view facing front, probably. So like in theory, we could change these and everything else would adapt, but we because the other ones are projected based on the first one. So let me double check if we wanted projected for here, which kind of would be the back, and we go back here and do projected for here and turn off projected view, go back to our main view, right click and switch this to front. They all should spin, and they do. Okay, so extra things first. We want right click shaded view for our isometric. And for all these, hold down shift, click them all, right click and show hidden lines. And there are a couple of hidden lines, but that's fine. And let's just go ahead and get dimensioning. Starting on the left, first thing that happens is this edge right here, which that's not great, crosses over. Let's see what we can beat. We could go here, but that's to a hidden line, not ideal. We could just do this, and this is, you know, outside of adjacent views. And you'll notice that because I clicked here when I made this extension line actually touches. The better way to do it would be to just do the dimension from here, first click, here, second click, and then that extension line won't touch. And I would say this last one is probably the best because it doesn't cross over, doesn't go to a hidden line, all that stuff. Okay, dimensioning, going to the left, the next thing that happens is this edge, which is the distance to where this face starts. And this is going to a hidden line. Excuse me, it's going to a non-contour. It's an interior line, not ideal. Up here, it's the same thing, not ideal. But anywhere else, you're going to have to cross into the shape or onto the view, as I would say. So this is about as good as it's going to get. And going back to the left, the first thing that, or excuse me, the next thing that happens is where this happens, which is as good as it gets. It's to a contour. It's to the silhouette of the shape. Doesn't cross over between adjacent views. Excellent. And the last thing that happens is the total width, which this is fine. It's between adjacent views, goes to a contour, which total width always goes to a contour. No hidden line, everything. I'm not crazy about this long extension line, so I would say up here might be better. It's not, it's about the same. Having all the dimensions on the front is desirable. Long extension lines are not. But thinking ahead, for one of the height dimensions, we'll probably want to go there, and then we'd have something crossing. So I am going to just put it on the top view. And that's it for width. Height down to up. First thing that happens is this ledge right here. Perfect. The next thing that happens is the height of this overhang, which on the front view crosses over super long extension line. Let me get a little more space. On the right side view, goes to a hidden line, not ideal. Outside of the adjacent view, we're crossing extension lines, but the key is not that we dimension the location of this point from the bottom. The key is that we dimension this point from a known spot. So this is doing the same thing. This dimension and this dimension are doing the same thing. They're locating this line right here. So we can keep just this 2-inch dimension instead of these 4-inch dimensions because they're locating this edge or describing how long it is. Plus, if you're just thinking about how you'd build this, showing that this is 2 inches tall is super useful. And same thing over here. And yeah, we'll straighten things out at the end. And then the only other height dimension is total height. We'll go there. Okay, depth, front to back. First thing that happens is this edge right here crosses over. It's not to a contour. It's not ideal. The only other place we could put it is here. And this one also not ideal. It doesn't go to a contour. But I think this one probably gives more information because even though this is not part of this edge right here is not part of the silhouette, part of the full contour, it is the contour of this cutaway. So it's not the worst. Then the only other depth is total depth, which can go either top or right side view. And that's about it. Let's just give it a little better spacing. And neaten things up. I don't think we're worried about too tight of a space for the size of the text. A little bit close, and we don't need 3 decimal places or 3 orders of magnitude of precision for this, but it's fine. Okay, so we'll call that one there. We already did I. J we'll do next. And if you recall making this one, it's a little bit more complex, but if you follow the steps, you'll get everything you need. Okay, basic template. And we're now all the way down here. And so we're down all the way over here. Let's just go ahead and load it up. And we'll just do our views first, and then we'll rename it the tab. Front view, excellent front view. And we're loading. There we go. Front to right. And front to top right. And turn this off. Let's right click and rename this to drawing J. And for the isometric view, we can show shaded view. Eventually, there we go. And for the other 3, click on one, hold down shift. Right click, show hidden lines. Right click, show hidden lines, which there will be a couple. And let's work through this. Okay, dimensioning. From the left side, the first thing that happens is the distance to there. And this actually is going to get kind of crowded. What are we going to do? Units, period. Let's see what happens if we shrink this a little bit. Yeah, okay. For this one, not a bad idea because we are going to have a lot of dimensions. go into drawing properties, go to the second tab up here called dimensions, and change text height from 0.12 inches to just 0.1 inches. Just get rid of the 2 and it'll shrink it down a little bit. That's fine. The precision isn't actually what's going to give us issues with space because it's all the extra decimal points are all actually, yeah, let's shrink that down. There's no reason. We can go here and change precision to, yeah, I think 2 decimals is probably fine. We may need to shrink it more later, but we can close that. Okay, back to dimensioning. Dimension tool, start on the left. The next thing that happens is where this edge happens. And back, the next thing that happens is where this edge happens. And these are long extension lines, but it is nice to go to that contour where on the top view, you're just going to these flat lines. It's not giving you any information. And dimension the other way to the other side. And all the way across. And I think this is a pretty satisfying layout for a reason to use stack dimensioning, where everything is just sort of lined up nice and neat. And we can space things nice and even. And then there's that. Okay, height. A bit of a dilemma here. Starting at the bottom, the first thing that happens is sort of the bottom of the trough. And this does require it to go over the view, having this extension line, but the alternative is to this hidden line. And I'm going to say just the fact that we can go to a contour is giving the viewer much more information, like what this 2-inch dimension actually means. Looks better in that position. So we'll keep it there. And that means we're following the same set of logic for the other one. And then the only other height is total height, which could go front view or right view. I don't know why. Yeah, that's okay. I don't like how, what if we shrink the arrowheads? Which one was arrowheads? Maybe make those point. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. If you shrink the arrowhead size, which is right below the dimension size, you can probably fit that in there. What if we just got precision down to whole inches? I don't know. You're calling that. You know, it's going to be unavoidable. At some point, you're going to have spaces so small that the number for it can't really fit and the arrows have to point out. But we can make it a case-by-case basis. And the only other, so that's all of the height. Let me get a little better spacing here. The only other thing is depth, and depth is, there's only one depth dimension, total depth. If we can see how you make this bigger. Is it view properties? And scale. Yeah, that's not better. Okay, so that's where we will leave a J. I'm not worried about text areas yet, but when we start doing original stuff, we'll probably get into that. Okay, part K. Let's do a new drawing, basic template. And there we go, pops up automatically. K, part 1 from K. Front view. Projected top view. Front view, projected right. Front view, projected isometric. And let's end that tool. Right click, rename this tab to drawing a K. And we're gonna need a little more space to fit this all in here. Right click, show hide shaded view. And then the rest of them, click, hold on, shift and click. Right click, show hidden lines. I don't think this has hidden lines. But it should be fine. Give me 1 second. All right, start on the left and do some widths. First thing that happens is this edge right here. Not ideal. It's not crossing over, but it's not to a contour. And the top view, we have the same dilemma. So we'll just keep that there. Next thing that happens is where this face slopes down. And that's fine. That's actually good. It goes to a contour. Everything looks good. And the only other width is total width, which right here is fine. It's about the same as top view. They always go to a contour, neither crosses over. I'm not crazy about this long extension line, but it's not terrible. So we can keep that one. It's fine. And a little better spacing. And height down to up. First thing that happens is the height of this edge right here. Fine. And the only other thing is total height, which if we go to the front view, crosses over. Not crazy about that. So let's go just put it on the right side view. Get rid of that one. And so we just have depth, front to back. First thing that happens is this edge here, which is the same as this edge here. Doesn't cross over, but it doesn't go to a contour, but they're both, the same amount of not ideal. So either one's fine. And the only other depth is total depth. And there you go. I'll give you a second to take a look at that. And we can go to part L, which is the last one here, and very similar to K. Create drawing, new template, or same template, basic template. And this is L. Set front, projected, front, projected, front, projected. And we're done with projected. To rename. No, that's not what I want. Click rename. There we go. Drawing L. And we can, I don't know why the scale on this looks a little weird. But let's go ahead and do hidden lines and shaded view. Right click shaded view for the isometric. And for top, front, and right. Right click hidden lines, which I don't think this has hidden lines, which is fine. And let's get to dimensioning. And so dimension, left to right, first thing that happens is this dimension, which is about the same on the top, not to a contour, but doesn't cross over. The next thing that happens is this dimension, not this one, but on the top view, it's significantly better. It goes to a contour and doesn't cross over. So that's a no-brainer. The next thing that happens is where this face turns down, which is a lot better than here. This doesn't go to a contour, much longer line, everything. So we'll keep that one. And then the only other width is total width, which is fine. There. Okay, height down to up. First thing that happens is this edge right there. And the only other height is total height, which goes right there. And except we're crossing over, so I think we can probably beat it here. And that's fine. And that's height. Okay. And then depth front to back. First thing that happens is this, which is definitely the contour here. So we want to dimension it there as opposed to here. But we can actually beat this by dimensioning like the reciprocal, the remainder. Either way, we're dimensioning the location of this edge from a known place. So that's fine. And then the only other depth is total depth, which is fine there also. Okay, so that's it for letters, just for the sake of tidying up or keeping the replays tidy. I'm gonna yeah, let's end this recording there, and we'll do some grades and make sure everyone's caught up. Okay, so if you're not able to keep up with instruction, you can obviously watch the replays.